Good afternoon, all. I'd like to welcome everyone to this meeting of the Boston Art Commission. My name is Alexandra Paul Zotov, and I'm the Public Art Registrar in the Mayor's Office of Art and Culture. In that capacity, I'm also the Administrator of the Boston Art Commission. Let's all take a moment to update our names and pronouns, as well as to make sure we are muted. In accordance with the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Executive Order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, we are conducting this meeting virtually. As a reminder, this was extended until 2025. To ensure public access to the deliberations of the Boston Art Commission, the public can join this meeting through telephone and video conferencing. For those of you with us today, this meeting is being recorded and closed captioning is available. You can access it at the bottom of the screen. If you're having trouble locating that button, please chat us for assistance.
Okay, thank you, Paul, and thanks everyone for being here. The Mayor's Office of Arts and Culture and the Boston Art Commission believe that public art is any artwork installed in publicly accessible spaces where they can be experienced by everyone for free. For transparency and community input, artworks proposed for City of Boston property are reviewed and discussed at public meetings of the BAC on a regular, usually monthly basis. Working together with the public art team in the Mayor's Office of Arts and Culture, the BAC is an independent board composed of 2 ex officio and 7 volunteer community members appointed by the mayor. The BAC has exclusive authority to approve and commission artworks intended to be added to the city's collection or placed on city property. And here you can see the public art team in the Mayor's Office of Arts and Culture. And we facilitate BAC public meetings, manage all phases, daily operations, and duties related to public art projects cited on or proposed for city property in collaboration with the Art Commission, community members, colleagues at the City of Boston as well. Helping to facilitate this meeting today are Amber Torres, Public Art Project Manager, Alexandra Paul Zotov, Public Art Registrar, and Liza Quinones, Mural Consultant. And we will add our contact information to the chat.
Thanks, Karen, and welcome everybody. I call this public hearing to order at 4:32 p.m. Today, the Commission is holding its monthly public meeting. Our meetings are generally held on the second Tuesday of every month, and we hope you'll continue to join us. We engage in discussions about public art in Boston in order to foster the creation and collection of artworks that reflect the people, ideas, histories, and futures of Boston, which is located on the traditional homeland of the Massachusetts people and the neighboring Wampanoag and Nipmuc peoples. We acknowledge the atrocities committed against Indigenous peoples, all of the communities that have been subsequently harmed, and the ways in which colonialism has created systemic oppression. We recognize the continuing presence of these communities and the Indigenous peoples represented in the city's residents, in addition to those in the diaspora. We also recognize that Boston exists as a result of the forced labor and economic extraction from enslaved African Americans. I'll now take roll call of commissioners to confirm a quorum. After I state your name, commissioners, please say here. I know that Vice Chair Camilo Alvarez could not be with us tonight. Cara Elliott Ortega.
Here.
Diana Fernandez-Bibo. Don't think she's with us. I don't think I saw Bob Freeman. Brian Hone.
I'm here.
Nigel can't be with us today. James Mason.
Here.
And Abigail Norman.
Here.
We have a quorum. So on this slide, you'll see today's agenda, which is also posted publicly on the city's website, boston.gov. We'll now review meeting minutes from the March meeting. Are there any comments or modifications any commissioner would like to make? Read through and didn't see any, but if anyone has any, please let me know. Hearing none, I wonder if any commissioner would like to make a motion to approve the March meeting minutes.
I will make a motion to approve the March 26th meeting minutes.
Thanks, Brian. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thanks, James. I'll now take roll call. If you agree with the motion, please say yes. Cara?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
James?
Yes.
Abigail?
Yes.
And I too am a yes, so the motion passes. Karen Goodfellow will now highlight the presentations for public review and give her director's report.
Thank you. We have 4 presentations for review today. The first project on the docket this afternoon is Pictures of the Year, a temporary installation in the final design phase by the Boston Press Photographers Association at the Boston Common. This is raised by the proponent Meredith Nierman, Boston Press Photographers Association. And you might remember this. We've seen this presentation a few years in a row now, and it's always really well received. And the second project is A Legacy of Color, a long-term mural by Geo Ortega with Luis Taforo in the final design phase for the Shelbourne Boston Center for Youth and Families in Roxbury at Malcolm X Park, located at 61 School Street, Roxbury. And this is raised by the proponent Street Theory for the City of Boston. And third, we have more coming to us from the Canvas of Culture. And these are long-term murals in the artist selection phase for the William E. Carter School at 61 School Street in Roxbury. And this is raised again by the proponent Street Theory for the City of Boston. And lastly, we have the review of some updates to our public art policies, and that's raised by Public Art Registrar Alexandra Paul Zotov for the City of Boston. And just some updates on our ongoing projects. We are still working with Public Works on finalizing construction for the bid for the Frederick Douglass Plaza as part of Journey of My Soul, the Frederick Douglass Legacy Project, Journey of My Soul. And we've made plans for Public Works to support project manager Amber Torres in managing the construction of the foundation and coordinating. Sasaki is working with a subcontractor to recommend potential businesses. Boston Public Library reviewed the text on the spines of Stu Schechter's bookmark for the Mattapan branch of the Boston Public Library and requested that the quotations be changed and replaced. The artist opted to replace them with free to all on one of the books and reduce the height by a little, and we'll come back with further updates. And this all happened after we were looking into copyright and which authors and that sort of thing. So it seems like a great move forward to move the project ahead. And for the Vine Street interior vinyl installations designed by Destiny Palmer, we're exploring the possibility of having the artist create the final digital file herself, using the field measurements taken by Art on Visual so that they can fabricate the piece, or alternatively paying the artist to paint the mural directly if the vinyl presents further unnecessary delays. And we should have an update on whether we intend to change the fabrication plans for that project at the next commission meeting. Project manager Amber Torres met with SGH recently to finalize the design for the foundation for Ria Vedro's project Amulet on City Hall Plaza. She also met with BRM and other project managers to help develop a new project schedule and determine feasibility dates for the construction and installation of the permanent foundation, as well as the artwork, which will be temporary itself. The idea that this will be a foundation that is a long-term investment by the city and that we're able to have temporary rotating artworks on the site. So this is the first one coming. So Ria's project is in process, and we're really excited to get that foundation done as well. Jenny Sabin has submitted an updated design for the Ruggles Corridor project with proposals for now up to 6 sites along Ruggles Street. We plan to meet with the community advisory group before coming to the BAC for preliminary design approval so that residents can weigh in on the new sites and designs. And I'll add that Amber Torres has been working very closely with the community and has made great strides on this project. And for the Adams Street branch in Dorchester, instead of hosting an event to share preliminary designs, which we had spent some time investigating, we created a Google form, including designs, the artwork designs for 3 to 9 potential exterior and interior sites by Priscilla de Carvalho, and shared it with local Adams Village organizations and with folks helping us make those connections there. We have that Google Form survey that we can put in the link, and we'd love if any of you could share with anyone you know who lives in Adams Village. And we're also working with the librarians to share flyers on site to share the designs and gather input there as well. And the deadline for input is April 19th. And lastly, on this section, for Engine 17 in Dorchester, Michelle Gutlove is working to submit required documentation, such as insurance and some other details. And we recently launched the Unmonument project, which we shared with you a little bit last time we spoke. And that is out now. And we have a call to artists, and it has 3 different opportunities listed out in it. And I'll briefly go over those here, but maybe we can also put the call into the chat. The first one is for temporary monuments, and this is in keeping with what we've done in the past with the Transformative Public Art Program. So we're really open-minded about how folks are designing or what media they're working in, but we do want projects on the theme of monuments. And so looking at temporary monuments to be proposed for either this summer or next summer, and the deadline for proposals is April 23rd at 5 p.m. Another opportunity for artists that we have in there is the augmented reality workshops. And those are going to be for 10 artists, and those will take place at Emerson Contemporary. The deadline for applying is April 16th at 5 p.m. It's a really straightforward application. Please share it with any artists you know who have a piece that they would like to translate into augmented reality or would like to develop a new piece. And then if they participate, they can propose to have it part of the exhibitions over this summer or next summer. And lastly, we have an application form open right now for an advisory team for folks to help us through this whole program and process. And that is also due April 16th at 5 p.m. And that also is a really easy application, a simple, straightforward Google form, and we'd love your help getting the word out on that as well. We're holding 2 question and answer sessions tomorrow, April 10th, one at noon and one at 6 p.m. We'll be taking written questions for a little bit longer, but if anyone is interested or has questions, we'll be on a Zoom and just talking to folks and happy to answer any questions that come in, or tell folks we'll get back to them through the Q&A form if we need to do a little research to get back to them. And then on conservation, we're very happy that the House Doctor RFP for a conservator closed, and it's currently being reviewed and moved forward, and a selection should be made by the end of April. So that will be for us to be able to work with someone for 3 years to conserve artworks, and that is a real moment of celebration for us, and a lot of work went into that by Paul. So many thanks to her for her work. She's also been working really hard on the conservation of the 16 by 30 foot painting Webster's Reply to Hayne by George P.A. Healy, and the work has finally begun. The considerable damage to the canvas in the upper left and right corners, as you may remember, called for emergency conservation, which is being led by Gianfranco Pocobene, Chief of Paintings and Research Conservator at the Gardner Museum, although I think he may have retired at this point, but that was his position. And also the restoration of Rise by Fern Cunningham continues, being led by Daedalus in collaboration with the Department of Transportation, and we're looking at installation for that in very early May. We had hoped to do it in April, but we weren't able to get the permit when we really thought about it, and it's in the middle of an intersection. We need to do it on a weekend, and so it just took a little bit longer to find the right day for everybody and to get like a crane out there. So we were hoping for April, but it is scheduled for May. And with that, I will turn it back to you, John.
Thanks, Karen. A lot of great projects moving forward and opportunity for artists as well. We'll now move on to the items on the agenda for review, public testimony, and commission vote. Here's how you can participate in today's meeting. If you have technical difficulties, you can ask questions in the chat and a member of staff will help you. When public testimony is requested, you can press the raise your hand icon and we will call on you. If you are calling in, press *9 to raise your hand. Our goal is to make this meeting a good experience for all. Please remember to keep your comments on topic, brief, and respectful of others. You can submit longer written testimony to bac@boston.gov. If you're called on, please state your name, title, program, and organization, if relevant. The first project for review is Pictures of the Year, presented by Amber Torres.
Boston press photographers submitted a public art and design application in February as they awaited site approval for this project. We've seen this project before, so we're welcoming them back. Paul Zotov and I were able to work with our colleagues in the Parks Department to aid in the site approval just in time for this meeting. So I'm happy to hand it over to the Boston press photographers to tell you more about this project.
Great. Thank you, Amber. And thank you to everybody on the commission and Paul also for helping us to get me to this day. I have to say, as a lifelong Boston resident, I'm a little bit moved by the whole democratic process that's going on right now. So it's a pleasure to be here, and I'm glad to be speaking with you in this 4th year of our project. So I am here to talk about the Pictures of the Year exhibit for 2024. I'm a board member of the Boston Press Photographers Association, and also the photo director at GBH, the PBS and NPR station here in Boston. I want to start with a little quote. I know it's a little bit of a cliche, but this is a quote that I hold near and dear to me. There's no other art with as great a democratic capacity as photography, and it's Manuel Alvarez Bravo. And this, you'll see why this is so important to the work that we do as I take you through the presentation more. So the Boston Press Photographers, and from here on out, I'll probably very quickly say BPPA, as it saves time, is the oldest press and television photographers association in the country. And in 2026, we will be 100 years old. We are dedicated to the pursuit and practice and advancement of journalism through a visual perspective. So in our case, through still photography. And core to our mission is the belief that documenting our communities is a privilege, and that the images that we make with the community belong to and with the public. And for many, many years now, every year, the BPPA has held the Pictures of the Year competition. Up until 2020, 2021, this was a very inward-facing, inward-looking thing that we did. We're a members dues organization, and we use that money to host a competition that would highlight and celebrate the best work from local New England photojournalists. And we would then celebrate, pat each other on the back, and gather. And we'd also learn from each other and do lots of good things to further the work that we do. But in 2020-21, we completely redid our strategy and how we spend our dues money, and made it our #1 priority to give those images back to the public through this exhibit that you've been wonderful helping us make happen the last while. Just very quickly on that, the work featured is, and our members are photojournalists on staff at the Globe and the Herald with AP. They're independent photojournalists who do work for those outlets at WGBH, elsewhere, and also freelance independent photojournalists who only occasionally publish work. The results of that competition are a visual historical record of the many stories that have impacted the communities here in the Boston area, and all the more so during these incredible times. But as I mentioned, it was inward facing. And since 2021, we have turned it back and given it back to the public. The images here are actually from our first year of hosting the exhibit in the city. Perhaps some of you have seen it. Next slide. Thank you. Great. So far in our first 3 years, we've been to a number of Boston neighborhoods. And I want to emphasize Boston neighborhoods because part of our mission is to make sure that this exhibit travels through Boston's many wonderful neighborhoods. We're currently in a model where we do 2 years and then move somewhere else, and we're doing 2 neighborhoods per year. So we've been to Copley Square, Nubian Square, Jamaica Pond, and last year was our first time on the Boston Common. Here's some photos from those past times. Actually, what you're looking at here are some of the winning photos. This is a sneak peek of some of the winning photos from this year. And where we're going this year, we are confirmed for the Boston Common. We've worked with the Parks Division and Paul for June 1st through 15th. We do 2 weeks because it allows for 2 weekends, and we know that those weekends are really important for foot traffic. On a related note, we're also just about buttoned up with Massport on Bremen Street Park in East Boston. We're just waiting. They gave us thumbs up and all approvals. We're just waiting for them to sign some legal documents. So again, on the Boston Common, June 1 through 15th. And what I've specced out here with these little purple circles is just a possible layout. This is actually what we did last year. I was concerned at the time about accessibility issues. Grass is not ideal, obviously, for people who use wheelchairs. We ensured that the cubes were far apart enough for a wheelchair to move around, but Paul's been wonderful and is going to be helping me connect with the Public Improvement Commission to figure out best placement on the Common. Great. And so the installation, You've seen these two photos right here. These are BPPA members installing the exhibit on the Common last year. They are approximately 8 to 10 four-sided metal cubes. They're 70 by 70 inches each. They are fabricated together very, very securely, and then we fasten the panels around them. As you can see here, if you look in the top photo in the far left corner, you'll see some blue water jugs. 3 of those are filled with water, and then the cubes are actually strapped to those water jugs before it's closed up, and that secures them to the ground. We've never had a problem with wind or, you know, any other kind of ability for anybody to lift and move the cubes. It's worked really well. And this design here actually comes from a design used widely out of New York, a group called Photoville. They're now doing these things all across the country. What else can I tell you? The final design for this year will include 133 winning images across 14 categories. And we also have a welcome panel that introduces people to the exhibit they're about to see, gives a little background on the organization as well. Great. We have been thrilled with the foot traffic we get in the places we go, but we know that that's absolutely not enough. We want people beyond those who might walk by the space to know that it's happening. So we do extensive outreach. We, like every org, send out a press release, and that gets picked up almost every year by, the Globe, the Herald, GBH, BUR, some of the college papers, and then even the sort of what to do this weekend kind of lists, we reach out to those lists directly too. We reach out to the local photojournalism and documentary photography organizations, and also undergraduate and graduate programs, schools and universities. We have every year, wherever we are, we try to go around to neighborhood businesses and organizations and let them know we're going to be there. Our members use their own social media. And now that we're enough out of COVID, we really want to make this year the year that we're finally able to offer tours and discussion sessions especially for young folks, but also people in general, and make our photographers available at the exhibit. So we'll be reaching out to the YMCA and other summer and after school programs, as well as the Boston Center. I always forget the C letter, for youth and families. And I actually saw there's somebody on the call from that organization, so I'd be eager to chat. My organization, WGBH, has been the media sponsor for this exhibit for 3 years now, and comes in and provides a lot of all the GBH's platforms and a lot of eyeballs in kind. We have a member magazine that goes out to over 100,000 local members. The exhibit is highlighted in that. Our big screen over the turnpike will have images, as well as this image on the right where you see these GBH circles. That is our studio at the BPL, and we take our screens that are in there and face them outward and do a slideshow. And then we've always had one form or another where some of the photographers are on air in some way, either on Greater Boston or Facebook Live or Lunch Hour Live at the BPL studio. So all of those things will be happening again this year. And as you know, the BPL studio is open to the public, so anybody can come to that. Great. That was a lot. I'm pause there and want to say thank you again. And I really appreciate being able to, we all appreciated the BPPA being able to keep this exhibit going and grow it, and would welcome feedback and questions.
Thanks so much, Meredith. So appreciate your presentation and this exhibition that returns each year. I think it's very meaningful for people to see those pictures and images. I'll now open up the conversation to any commissioners who might have a question for Meredith. I can start, Meredith. I actually had one. Previously, this has been presented both on Boston Common and in Copley Square. I realized that given Copley's current renovation, that probably wasn't feasible. But I was curious if you had thought about another location or just determined that Boston Common for this year was enough for you.
Yeah, well, so what we've decided to do is when we can do 2 years in a row for each location, and we're open to changing that. But part of why we did it was that once we kind of went to a space and we saw that it worked and people were saying, are you coming back? And that was actually incredibly gratifying. We thought, let's put it there again as we find a new place. And then we kind of keep staggering them along. So if we are on the common this year, which it sounds like we will be if you all approve, that will be our last year for now on the common, and we'll go somewhere else after that. And again, we're going to be in East Boston also this year. So even though part of the issue was that Copley Square was no longer available, it actually was okay because we really feel like it is so important that this exhibit not be where everybody usually goes, which is Copley and the Common. And so that's why we've been to Jamaica Plain. That's why we're in Nubian Square. We're heading to East Boston.
That's great. Thanks, Meredith. Any other commissioner questions or comments?
It says Abigail Norman. I'd just say that I really salute you for including workshops for young people who are interested in photography.
Yeah, it's, I feel like there's so much potential there for us. And so I'm really looking forward to making more of that happen this year. We were held up by COVID. We tried, and then schools were saying no field trips, even outside. So we're ready. And thank you. I look forward to reporting on it next year, if not sooner. So.
I now open it up to any members of the public who may like to make a comment or ask a question. Well, hearing none, I'm curious if any commissioner would like to make a motion to approve final design of Pictures of the Year.
I move.
Abigail, if you could say the actual motion. So if you could say, I move to approve final design of.
I move to approve final design of the Pictures of the Year.
Thanks, Abigail. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Oh, thanks, Diana. Good to see you. Commissioners, after I say your name, please say yes if you support the motion. Cara?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Diana?
Yes.
James?
Yes.
Abigail?
Yes.
And I'm a yes as well. Congratulations. The motion passes. Excited to see this on the Common and in the other spaces throughout the city.
Thank you, everyone.
Our next presentation is final design for A Legacy of Color, a long-term mural for BCYF Shelburne, 2730 Washington Street in Roxbury by artist Geo Ortega with Luis Taforo, proposed by Liza Quinones, City of Boston. I hand it to you, Liza.
Thank you, Commissioner. Our call to artists for a community mural to honor the legacy of Malcolm X was first released in June of 2021 with the Transformative Public Art Joy Agenda Initiative. Originally slated for placement at Malcolm X Park, the scope changed to a large-scale opportunity on the exterior facade of the Shelburne Community Center in partnership with the Boston Centers for Youth and Families. Now, almost 3 years later, I'm very excited to present the final mural design for the Commission's approval for installation of A Legacy of Color by Geo Ortega with Luis Taforo and their company Inspired Through Art. Geo and Luis will present their design developed under thoughtful consideration and engagement with the youth at the Shelburne, as well as community stakeholders, including the director and founder of the Shelburne Community Center, with feedback from family members of Malcolm X and other members of the Roxbury community. With us today is Commissioner Rivera from BCYF. I'm not sure, possibly Diane Galloway, the director of the Shelburne Community Center, though I haven't seen her, and a couple of members of the working group who may want to provide public testimony when it's that time. I will now introduce Geo and Luis to present their work. Take it away, guys.
I'll let Geo introduce himself first, as he's the lead artist in this project.
How you guys doing? Name's Geo Ortega. Everybody calls me Geo or Go 5. I am long-term grew up in Roxbury and Rosendale, spent most of my life out here. I'm now a teacher for the Boston Public Schools and a local artist alongside with Lisa.
How's everyone doing? My name is Luis Taforo. Most people either know me as Wiso. So also a Boston raised artist, graffiti street artist. Very excited to work on this project and give our interpretation of what a legacy of color looks like. Yeah. So just moving on, this is going to be on the it's going to be on the side of the Shelbourne Community Center. We really like this location. It's just northeast side. It's actually down the street from the Malcolm X Elia Little Collins house. It's located right down the street. So it's a great opportunity for us to provide something beautiful in this space that the community is hopefully is going to receive well, and is going to see that we have the best interest in this visual design. We did work with a group of community members, mostly 10 kids. We spent a good time, more or less doing what we normally do when we take on projects. When we're painting outside, we always engage the community. We have moments where we're just having conversation or invite them to grab the brush and paint the piece with us, rather than just watching us work with this piece. So in doing that, what we did is we provided some sketches of elements that we thought would look great on the wall before we came up with our final design. And we had them color it and do some patterns within these designs, these drawings, and having a coloring book session and just talking about the art, and just different issues that they had within their community, or different visions that they had. And this is the focus that we have when we came up with our design, thinking about what our future looks like, while also considering the legacies that were left for us to ponder.
And real quickly, so
yep.
This is the documented part. This is when we sat down with the kids inside the community center. We have visited the site multiple times just to kind of get the feel for how the community actually uses that space. A lot of the designs, a lot of the thought process and conversations that we have is based on that. My children actually live about 2 streets over from the street, so we spend a lot of time in that space, kind of getting the feel for how the community uses the space and how to understand the best way to depict what we feel and picked up from these interactions with the community center and the community.
Yeah. And so if you look at side 5, the coloring book session, that is actually a coloring page that one of the students came up with and finished up, and we incorporated that design inside of the mural, inside of the suit and the headdress of the young lady that we have in our ending concept. And then with the within the community engagement, we did get some feedback to represent, to use the horned glasses, the horn rim style glasses that Malcolm X is really known for. So we will be making that adjustment in our design so that we can really represent that. And then on slide 7, if you look, this is our final design that we are presenting to you. There is a basketball court in there that we, funny enough, that when we were having this engagement with some of the kids, they were really excited to go play basketball. So they let us know that their time was precious, and they also wanted to do some other activities. So that's one of the reasons we have that there. But I'm also going to let Geo talk a little bit more on this one.
The ideas that we came up with was, excuse me. Based on our experiences in Roxbury, we've painted in Roxbury for many, many years, and kind of trying to represent the image of us coming up as youth and trying to fit into the shoes of the elders who taught us and told us about the legacy and the history of Roxbury. And this is just our interpretation of some of the information, the more important parts that we picked up from it. Yeah, just went blank. Okay.
Yeah, I just to jump on that and say that again, we picked some, or we drew up some really I feel like we created these bold avatars, and the reason for that is because also if you talk to the young people now, especially nowadays, they're really prepared to pick up where we left off, right? Like our future is very bright when I think about the young people that I in the conversations that I have with youngest 10 years old, right? And so we wanted to make sure that we showed these powerful young people, right? Like not, I don't want to call them kids because it doesn't give them justice. When you really sit there and talk about them, they may not have all of the education on hand or all of the information on hand, but they're ready to pick it up and learn so that they can provide the best opportunities for their community. So that's part of what we want to make sure that this image showed. And then lastly, we wanted to talk about our installation dates. So we are Monday the 22nd is one of the dates we were thinking about. I want to maybe start that Saturday. So that would be the 20th. That is still up for conversation depending on availability of certain things like lifts. Safety considerations that we took in, me and Geo both lift certified, so we do know how to operate this heavy machinery. We do understand the OSHA safety that goes in with it. There is a entrance, a side entrance there that we will need to be blocked off just to make sure young people don't run through while we're using this heavy machinery. We will have a staging area aside so that we don't have paint or anything falling or going throughout the area. So we're very careful with that. We are also hoping to hire a couple of people to, when we're on the list and not readily available to the community, to have people come and have a conversation, get input in terms of what our process is and what we're drawing. We want to make sure that when we leave this project, it's not a showpiece. It's a community piece. It belongs to everybody that is within that community, future and past. We will be bringing some small canvases and hopefully have some larger canvases with easels so that we can have painting sessions. We've done this before in many of our installations where we have people painting with us. The artwork. So we will be using readily available supplies. We are street artists, so our main tool is spray paint. But we do use exterior paint that you can get from Home Depot, Bear. Ultra is normally the brand that we get. So that helps us to make sure that when we're applying our color, it stays vibrant. Also, it's to create adhesion between this raw brick wall. We also, what we use is Montana Gold or Montana 94 spray paint. They have very good saturation, and we have projects. Peters Park, I think we did that one, and that one is like 10, 12 years old, and the colors are still very great. Mel King, which is 5, 6 years old, the colors are still very great. We did an installation with the Elliott School, I want to say 2 years now, and the colors are very vibrant. So we're not worried about colors fading or anything of that sort. It will need minimal maintenance in terms of that. And if it was to need any sort of touch up, all of our colors and our paints are going to be readily available. So yeah, and I think that is really it for us. Unless Gio, would you like to add anything else?
No, I think you said it all. You're good.
Luis and Gio, thank you so much for your presentation. Liza, I think you mentioned that there may be a proponent here for this project. I'm curious if anyone from BCYF or another proponent of this project would like to speak in support. Marta, go ahead.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Marta Rivera. I'm the commissioner of BCYF. First and foremost, thank you so much, Wiso and Geo, for your incredible work on this artwork. We are so excited to finally be at this stage. As Liza mentioned, it's been several years in the work. So BCYF, the Shelburne community, is anxious to move this forward and supports this wholly. We look forward to the day when this beautiful design is adorning our exterior walls, abutting the park, and the kids are going to be so elated to see how something they contributed to is part of the permanent building and structure at the Shelburne. Diane Galloway, the center director, was unable to be with us, but also sends her just incredible accolades for the work that Wiso and Geo did with the youth at the center. Very engaging, thoughtful process. The way they, as they explained, incorporated elements that the young people contributed and included things that are iconic, not just of the Shelburne, like the basketball, but also Roxbury, like Malcolm X. And as he said, incorporating the horn-rimmed glasses. And I saw, they have the L, the train. Those of us that are Bostonians remember the old L in Dudley or Nubian Square. So again, just want to express our support, say jubilant support or ecstatic support for this artwork. And again, a great deal of gratitude for the two artists that were incredibly engaging, accommodating, and so talented. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marta. I now open it up to any commissioners who have a question or comment for Geo and Luis. Hearing none, I wonder if there are any members of the public that would like to make a comment or ask a question. Well, with that, I wonder if any commissioner would like to make a motion.
John, I think we have a constituent.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see.
Dayosha has her hand up.
Oh, please go ahead. Sorry. Sorry,
Hi,
Dayosha.
sorry, hi, no problem. I just wanted to extend my deepest gratitude to the artists because I know that, feedback from the community that they received, they were so receptive to, wanting to make the change that the community wished to see. And I know that can be difficult as artists to have to shape your work, but I really appreciate the thought that both of you put behind the piece and the image that you've chosen to display.
Thank you so much for your comment, Dayosha. Well, with that, would any commissioner like to make a motion?
I would like to make a motion to accept a Legacy of Color final design.
Thanks so much, James. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thanks, Brian. Commissioners, after I say your name, please say yes if you approve the motion. Cara?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Diana?
Yes.
James?
Yes.
Abigail?
Yes.
And I too am yes. So Geo and Luis, congratulations. I'm so thrilled for everyone at the Shelburne who will get to enjoy this amazing artwork for many, many years to come.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Our next presentation for review will be the artist selection for a Canvas of Culture BPS mural. Mural consultant Liza Quinones will introduce the initiative as a whole and discuss the process for each site.
Thanks again, John. Just a really quick project background recap. During last month's special meeting, we introduced the BAC to the Mayor of Arts and Culture's new mural initiative, A Canvas of Culture, integrating large-scale murals and other public art projects at capital improvement sites throughout the city and in schools across Boston's neighborhoods. In its inaugural year, the initiative is concentrating on sites at Boston Public Schools, connecting artists whose artwork aims to amplify the aesthetic, cultural, social, and educational richness of schools while adding vibrancy to our city's landscape. Our strategic planning efforts included a call for walls with BPS last November, which resulted in 9 projects at 8 school sites that fit our eligibility criteria for our Opportunity 1. Those artist selections were confirmed during our last meeting, and those projects will be installed this summer. This evening, I will share the details of Opportunity 2. Our team worked closely with PFD and their capital project at the Carter School in the South End. This school site will host 4 projects that will be installed in the spring of 2025. The call to artists was released in February of this year and included sites for both Opportunity 1 and 2. We closed the call on February 28th with a total of 163 applications. This slide breaks down our selection criteria and our selection process a bit. Again, we reviewed this a bit last month, but here's a breakdown once again. We prioritize artists that have a strong connection to Boston and or the overall themes of the individual sites, artists who possess a robust and original artistic vision, whose work samples demonstrate artistic experience and technical ability to execute similar public art projects, plans and experience in engaging their community through public art, and a proposal narrative and experience that aligns with the city's curatorial vision. Our selection process for the Carter School included reviewing all applications and dividing them into 3 groups. There was a group that was strongly considered, future consideration, and not eligible. The applications were split pretty evenly across those groups. I then met with the Carter team and presented them with a curated selection of about 12 applicants whose proposals align closely with their goals and themes. And then the team was instructed to select their top 3 finalists per project. Then all artist finalists were scored and submittable by members of our MOAC team. And then final artist recommendations that we're reviewing now were based on a combination of criteria eligibility, school's choice, and our team's curatorial vision for the city's collection. So I will now present Opportunity 2. Next slide, please. For Opportunity 2, we are really excited to collaborate closely with PFD, the architects Perkins and Will, BPS, and the Carter School, a new and updated facility that will include a therapeutic pool, sensory garden, rooftop classroom, and better spaces designed specifically for students with disabilities and complex learning needs. For this school, we sought out artists with a keen interest in and experience in crafting 2D public art projects that are both research informed and tailored to the unique sensory needs of the school's student population and communities. The graphics on this slide were sourced from Perkins and Will, highlighting various sensory considerations, including how students with cortical visual impairments can more easily identify high wavelength hues. Through their research-informed design, the entire school is built to integrate and accommodate various sensory needs. As a result, in reviewing artist proposals, our priority and preferences were given to artists who demonstrated their ability to create art with a deep understanding of these diverse communication abilities and unique sensory experiences. We also sought out artists who could skillfully weave vibrant, engaging, and inspiring narratives related to civil and disability rights into their artwork. With us today from the Carter School team are Mark O'Connor, principal of the Carter School, as well as Angela Chan and Guy de Azevedo from PFD. If there's anybody else here from the team that I'm missing, please feel free to provide testimony or let us know that you're here during that time. I'll now introduce each of the project sites and our artist recommendations. Our first site is the north exterior wall at the rear of the Carter School, facing the MBTA platform. This large-scale exterior facade is a prime location with high visibility where artists have the unique opportunity to tell the story of the Carter School, its mission and values. The location of the school is also the site of Martin Luther King Jr.'s former Boston address, adding historical significance to the connection of civil rights and the ADA movement. Together with the school, MOAC recommends artist Georgie Nakima, who also goes by the artist name A Garden of Journey, from Charlotte, North Carolina. These are 3 examples of her past work. Georgie's practice is deeply engaged with uplifting traditions and legacies, particularly in direct collaborations with community, stakeholders, and neighbors. Her extensive background in public art is defined by a strong focus on amplifying the stories of Black and Indigenous voices, as well as developing visual experiences that create a sense of community, home, and liberatory possibility. Her artistic concept for the William E. Carter School North Exterior Wall is to provide a visual narrative that celebrates the school's present and future impact, while also honoring the historical impact of Martin Luther King Jr. as the location of his former home. She's inspired by the overall theme to be a dream of equality and equity by connecting the civil rights movement and the ADA movement as a human right to exist. The artist finalists for the North Exterior Wall included Georgie Nakima, Brian Peterson, and Sylvia Lopez Chavez. The second project site at this location is the Level 2 courtyard. The Carter School's courtyard is a place for everyone. Artists are invited to create visually captivating artwork that supports the student population's sensory and learning experiences. Located outside of the gym, the artwork here should provide a stimulating and visually interesting environment with colors that meet functional visual specifications. Together with the school, MOAC recommends local Boston artist Cyril Conan. Cyril is an artist that we've commissioned before under Transformative, and these are 4 examples of his work. Cyril has painted murals in Roxbury, East Boston, Allston, Seaport District, Watertown, Brighton, Charlestown, Dorchester, and Cambridge, but never in the South End. This is where he lived for the first 10 years since arriving to Boston in 1998. He says, "I know it well and would love to paint murals at the Carter School in the South End to any capacity. It would be a humbling experience to produce a piece for such a historic location." And he loves the placement of the courtyard wall. He thinks that there's a fantastic color palette to work with, and that it's a beautiful space. The next exterior site is the Level 3 exterior therapy garden wall. For the walls in the school's garden area, the Carter School envisions a sensory garden and seeks artwork that enhances sensory experiences. Artists can incorporate visual, tactile, and or auditory elements, exploring themes of nature and the growth cycle. Wall B will be integrated with a living plant wall, offering a unique canvas for artistic expression. For this site, we recommend artist Ernesto Maranje from Sunrise, Florida. These are 4 examples of his past work. Ernesto's past work includes an immersive sensory mural for the Lighthouse of Broward County, a nonprofit for the blind and visually impaired. The mural is textured, incorporates sound with motion sensor speakers that play nature noises, and it can be smelled thanks to diffusers that emit scents of orange. He has also created a mural with live plant installations, like you can see on the bottom right. So this is something that he would love to explore again with this school. For these two, for the courtyard and the garden wall, these are the three finalists that were considered for both of those spaces. And they included Cyril Conan, Maciel Grullon, and Ernesto Maranje. For the final project site at this school, we are looking at an interior wall at the upper school lounge. The Carter School serves students from ages 3 to 22, and the upper lounge is a dedicated space for the school's older students. Artists creating artwork for this environment must carefully consider themes and functionality that are age appropriate and resonate with the school's high school student population. The artwork should not only be visually appealing, but also serve as a therapeutic and educational tool, enhancing sensory and learning experiences. Finally, for the interior upper lounge, we recommend local Boston artist Maciel Grullon. These are 3 examples of her past public art work, as well as 2 examples of her color studies and studio work. This opportunity resonates deeply with Maciel because the connection she has with this neighborhood hits home. The South End on Mass Ave holds a special place in her heart as it is where she was born and raised. The brown brick building of her childhood home is visible from the north exterior wall. Every day she used to take the Orange Line Mass Ave train to Artists for Humanity to go to work, and her childhood bedroom overlooked the apartment building where Martin Luther King Jr. lived. For this project, she proposes a super graphic mural that is abstract yet visually captivating. She believes most of her work, especially the abstract geometric pieces, give off sensory art colors that meet functional vision specifications. She aims to use stimulating colors and dynamic shapes to create a visually intriguing environment and engage cognitive thinking, enhancing the sensory experience of the space. Maciel's selection is a placement decision after considering all of the artists finalists for the project sites at this school. As a local emerging artist, MOAC is excited about providing an opportunity that can expand and elevate her career in public art. And those are our artist recommendations for the projects at the Carter School. Thank you so much.
Liza, thank you. And of course, for all of your work on all of these projects that we have coming forward. I'm curious, Mark O'Connor from the Carter School, if you'd like to say anything in support of these artists and the selection.
Thank you. Yes, my support is definitely behind these artists. I think Liza and her team led a phenomenal process that really included our voice at the table when we were looking for the specific features we wanted and the things we wanted to highlight for our students. So we're very happy and supportive of the artists that are put forth today.
Thanks so much, Mark. And is there anyone from PFD that would like to speak in support of these artists and this project? Well, I'm curious now, commissioners, if any of you have any questions or comments for Liza. I'm just struck by the vibrancy and color that all of these artists are able to incorporate into their work, and I'm excited to see the final designs for these murals as they develop in the future.
I do have a question. I think this is the first time that we're doing artworks with this consideration about like the sensory experience. And I'm just wondering, and maybe whoever just spoke, Mark, on behalf of the school, if there's a way for us to follow up and just be in conversation about how they're received and what impact some of these choices around the artist selection and the color theory work and all of that has, you know, in real life when people are experiencing it, just because I don't think we've had that opportunity to learn from that before.
Yeah, I definitely would love to be a part of that. I think there's a lot that has gone into this building that's been designed for our students that we were excited to see the impact of, and the color theory being really one of the major pieces for our students' visual acuity, and then for wayfinding through the building. So there's a lot that we could look at and learn from.
Awesome, thank you.
Any other commissioners with a question or comment?
I would just say, you know, kudos again. Such a cool opportunity to really integrate, you know, the building and the art together in such a cool and kind of authentic way. So just kudos to everybody kind of involved in the project, from the artists to the selection committees and all of the things. So very exciting.
Thanks, Brian. I now open it up to any members of the public who'd like to make a comment or ask a question. Don't see any hands. So I'm curious if any commissioners would like to make a motion to approve the artist selection for the William E. Carter School. And I think we can, correct me if I'm wrong, we can make a single motion for all of the artists selected here.
I think that should be okay, as long as they're all positive. If you wanted to separate any of them, we might separate that. Or maybe list them each for clarity, yeah.
Liza, we may call on you to help with that. Why don't I, here's how we're going to do this. I'll make the motion. I make a motion to approve the artists. Okay, Liza, can you list them?
Sure. Hold on one second. Georgina Kima,
Georgina Kima,
Cyril Conan,
Cyril Conan,
Ernesto Marange,
Ernesto Marange,
and Maciel Grullon.
and Marciel Grullon for the William E. Carter School. Done. Do I have a second?
Yes, I'll second.
Thanks, James. Commissioners, after I state your name, please say yes if you approve the motion. Cara?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Diana?
Yes.
James?
Yes.
Abigail?
Yes.
And I'm a yes as well. So congratulations. I'm really thrilled for this project and to see how this continues and moves forward. So now for our final presentation for review, this will be public art policy updates, and Public Art Registrar Alexandra Paul Zotov will introduce and share an overview on these policy updates.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much. First, I just want to say I'm very pleased and excited to raise updates to the public art policy. Throughout the years, as our team's practice has developed, we've also learned and adapted our strategies to better serve all of those who are interested in public art. I'd like to first begin by acknowledging the really important and seminal role of our Director of Public Art, Karen Goodfellow, who first created this document, as well as uplift the contributions of previous members of our team who have helped shape this, such as the previous Public Art Senior Manager, Sarah Rodrigo. We'd also like to thank our current colleagues, Liza Quinones and Jared Stanley, for their deeply valuable input as it relates to their respective fields. Our public art project manager, Amber Torres, has not only contributed her wealth of knowledge and expertise to the realm of public art as it pertains to project management, fabrication, and community engagement, but has also kept us on track to ensuring that we're presenting this to you today. I'm also extremely grateful for her support as a thought partner in discussing how we can continue to iterate and craft our policy to better sustain our broader cultural community. That being said, our updated policy document has 3 significant changes that I'm looking forward to discussing further with you. And you can see them outlined on the slides here. So one of the first things that we've done is amend the structure of our policy. By splitting apart the policy and the process, which the process document has been now split into a public art proposal guide, we've had the ability to add more content on the policy aspect, discussing concept iteration, artist selection, as well as provide content guidance. And within our process document, which we can easily iterate and revise as our kind of approach to public art changes, it really is more of a granular overview and hones in on the how of public art. The additional update is kind of people in our public first, where we've really done some reflection on tone and the way that the actual policy is written. Previously, it was a little bit more informative and very straightforward and bureaucratic. And here we've changed that by thinking through our audience, which is really people who are interested in public art at large, and have created it to be from their point of view. As well, tone was really important from us in order to make sure that we are sharing out the information, but also making it accessible to people. And we've kind of landed in an area that I think is accessible, but also straightforward. Clarity and transparency within our processes was really important. And a huge priority for us to ensuring that it wasn't just a boring document that no one actually ended up reading, but something that was actually useful to people. And on that topic of usefulness, the other update that we're really pleased to add is kind of centralizing our existing resources in order to create something that is a public art toolkit. We've included templates and forms that help advance our practice by offering things like budget guidelines, an insurance matrix, and other examples of baseline contracts. Within also more on the content end, we've added additional information on funding mechanisms, public art and private property, the artist selection process, and other things that people might find useful. So it's a little bit of a rather large document, which is why we don't have the whole thing, but hopefully this is the way that we can begin having a conversation about public art policy in the hopes that we can continue to better serve and sustain our broader cultural community.
Thanks, Paul. Appreciate that. I know it was a rather long document, but I just want to confirm with commissioners that they've been able to review the new and updated policy document so that we can have an effective conversation about it. And if so, if you had any questions or comments for Paul, having read through it.
I just want to make a comment and just thank Paul and the rest of the team. I think it's so amazing to see you put together time and effort to focus this content to be more user-friendly to our citizens in the city. So it's just exciting to see that language written out in a way that makes it much more accessible and provides greater transparency for the work that we do.
I definitely agree with that, Diana. It's much more user-friendly than what we had before. And I think all of the resources and additions that you've added will make the process for artists or proponents proposing new projects that much easier. Do any other commissioners have any questions or comments?
Yeah, I have a boring bureaucratic question, which is just whether or not we actually need to approve these at the Art Commission.
The advice we had gotten from previous legal counsel was that we did because we had before. But the way we've structured it now is that I think we're asking for review on the policy section and that we would keep the guidelines separate. Cara, does that make sense?
Not really to me, but I don't know. I'm not sure it matters. I haven't spent a lot of time thinking through like what the consequences of that aren't. I guess I wonder, if, yeah.
Sorry, it says like the commission can make its own bylaws in our ordinance, and so this is sort of like what we have seen as part of that. And when we had ACC Nyla Freeman, and we had asked her if we need to continue to bring it, she said because we had set a precedent that we should continue doing it. So that was the legal advice we had received most recently.
So these are bylaws.
It seemed to be following through the spirit of the ordinance, saying that we would be following like the way the Art Commission operates in that way through the policies as written here, acting in that way. But that the step-by-step, the more granular guidelines that Paul was saying, separating them out so that we can more frequently update those without having to do a big thing and come through for all of that.
Cara, from your perspective, in voting on this tonight, are you concerned either about the sort of precedent that has been set of voting for these or for any of the content that is included in them?
I don't think I have any concerns over the content. I'm just always thinking about that we have a very delightful, happy marriage right now between the Art Commission and the Mayor's Office of Arts and Culture. I'm just always thinking through what happens if that's not the case. And so I think if our previous given our recent experience with City of Boston legal counsel, I'm not sure that previous experience from our legal counsel, like previous legal opinion, is really worth anything really in this kind of conversation. Like, I don't know if we ask new legal counsel who will be given to us soon, if they would say something different. But I'm happy to, if people feel good about it and want to move forward, I'm happy to, vote yes on it today, but I would probably want to follow up at the next Art Commission meeting once we've had a chance to actually get our new legal counsel and just talk that through with them.
That's understandable, Cara. I'm curious if any commissioners have any objections to anything, or if there were any sections of the policy as it's been updated that you have any concerns with. Maybe we can start there and then see if we want to call for a vote. Would commissioners be willing to accept these proposals and approve them as are? Why don't I call for a vote? That's what these are for, right? So would anyone like to make a motion to approve the updated Boston Art Commission policies?
I can make a motion to approve the recommended updated Boston Art Commission policy document.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Thanks, Cara. Commissioners, after I say your name, please say yes if you approve the motion. Cara?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Diana?
Yes.
James?
Yes.
Abigail?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. So the motion passes. And Cara, to your point, once we have counsel assigned to us once again, this may come back before the commission just to discuss, I guess, what our precedent has been and what it may be moving forward. So appreciate you bringing that, Cara, to our attention here tonight. Well, that was our last order of business. So at this point, I'm curious if any commissioners would like to make a motion to adjourn this evening's meeting.
I am making that motion to please adjourn this evening.
James, it's always you. I love that. I will second that. Commissioners, after I say your name, please say yes if you agree with the motion. Cara,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
Diana,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Abigail,
Yes.
and I vote yes as well. For all of the members, Karen, Paul, Liza, Amber, who worked so hard on this, and of all of the projects coming forward, thank you so much. We at the commission so greatly appreciate the work that you do. So many, many thanks for that. And to the rest of us here this evening, have a wonderful evening and a good rest of your week.
Thank you all.
Thanks so much.
Thanks. Have a great night.
Good night, everybody.
All right, another one done.
Woo!
My goodness.
Oh man, thank you so much, Paul, for getting this all together. And now it's been intense.
Woo.
Week to week to week to week.
Yes, well, thanks
Super
all for
intense.
being wonderful team members and keeping us moving. Karen, I just want to say one thing really quickly.
Yeah.
In our bylaws, I actually don't see the stipulation where it says that
In
we
the ordinance?
yeah.
I thought it says something about bylaws. Do you have, I didn't see the bylaws in what you, in the ordinance in that section, though. I think you included powers and duties, but not the ordinance.
I'll take a look at that.
Yeah, I was a little thrown off since Carzone has been part of these in the past. I didn't expect her to have that question. Can you share the ordinance? Do you have it available?
Here's the document that I have. It's like acts and powers, but I don't think it has the
But
actual.
not acts and powers, the
Like I have the 1890 Act. That's like establishing the committee.
where's the most recent one where we named the ICA?
See, that's the one that we couldn't find.
Hold on. It was in our previous, you couldn't find it where? I mean, it's gone, it's on the state website right now, it should be.
You can, I haven't been able to find the one that specifically has the ICA, and it's something that we were going back and forth with the researchers about, because I also couldn't find that thing that specifically talked about the ICA, neither could they.
Are you sure? I thought it was the one from 10 years ago that you couldn't find. I thought it was the first one I did you couldn't find.
So there's one from 2018. But it doesn't mention the ICA.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
No, look right here. I mean, I don't know if this will get at the part that I thought I remembered, but maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, the commission shall adopt and may from time to time amend bylaws concerning its internal management, and after public hearing may adopt from time to time amend yeah, this is all here. I'm not wrong.
Would you mind chatting it to me?
I did.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
seconds still coming through.
The Zoom chat.
Oh, the Zoom chat. Oh, sorry.
I know, it's confusing.
Just give me one moment.
I'll say from my point of view, I think it's a good idea to do these at a public meeting. And
I think so too.
yeah, I think it's a good idea.
Perfect. Oh my God, Karen, thank you so much. This is the one that we've been missing.
Can you share this link out with the BAC and with that part, just to clarify, because I don't want to leave them feeling like we did something wrong. Because I feel like when I'm questioned, I sound immediately guilty, like I've done something, but that's just me.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
How I am. Someone asks me a question, I'm like, I did steal it, even if I didn't, you know, I must have done it. But no. Yeah, I don't know. As soon as someone is like, did you do that? I'm like, I don't know. I don't trust me either.
That's Karen, thank you so much, because this is what I've been missing. I remember you were talking about it.
I thought you were missing the one from 10 years ago, which I gave a half-hearted look for. The one when Menina was still mayor. The first one I did.
Nope, this is the one we needed. Because I was like, where is the ICA? And we were looking everywhere to find the ICA and couldn't. So I'm just gonna follow up with them and say,
You share this and be like, hey, just so you know, this is real. Like, we're definitely supposed to do this. Like, this is not mayor's office. Like, it literally says in there, this is how we're supposed to do it.
Yeah.
In our we do not want our legal department telling us what we can do or taking away the public process. From my point of view, just, it's something to be careful of.
Uh-huh.
Like those earrings, Liza.
Yeah.
I actually meant to chat you to compliment you on the same thing.
Yeah, but that was really good. Super, super good. Good work, everybody. There was a lot getting to this point.
A lot. Yeah. And Maciel,
Yay! Thank you, Liza. I saw that. Woo! Exciting.
like, I'm leaving her in. I'm leaving her in. And then I double, triple checked with them and they never gave me a response. So I assumed, no news.
Maciel didn't respond to you?
No, the principal and the Carter.
I think it's fine. I think
I'm like,
Maciel
I'm
might
gonna
just
make
have
this
to.
call. You guys tell me if you feel otherwise or if you feel strongly against it. And they never did. So I kept it in there.
I think Maciel may just have to adjust their color relationships, and I'm sure that'll be fine.
Yep.
Yeah.
Karen, can we chat about Malcolm X or do you want to wait till tomorrow morning?
No, we can. I will say I have no faith in Parks getting it done. I don't want to be alarmist, but like if they had looked into this when Smoke first brought it up, like then we would have had more time. I don't know if the thing is with the weather, I don't know about whether the work could have happened anyway, but will this throw any of the other courts into delay?
My thing is that, obviously the contractor that renovated the park knew about the issue and they just paved over it regardless.
Yeah.
So they were only concerned about their scope of work, even if repairing the whatever pipe underneath wasn't part of it. I think that part of that should have at least alerted Parks about the issue.
Yeah, I agree.
So do we continue and just paint over it? I think it would be a poor investment to paint over it and then know that they would just need to fix it at some point. Or do repairs to the court, although I highly doubt that they would even do any repairs to the court.
You don't think they're going to do repairs at all?
No.
Can I interrupt? And it's a good time to interrupt and say that we're gonna have to cut this video a lot.
Oh, you didn't stop the recording?